The next morning, when Duck arrived at the quarry and saw the scene of destruction, he could only smile. Well, he said, I guess we better get you out of here, hey, Percy? Soon, Percy was back on the rails, but standing right in front of him was Sir Topham Hatt. Percy, he said sternly, you have upset my arrangements. There's no such thing as things that go bump in the night. If this happens again, I shall send you away, and I will find another engine to take your place here. Understood? He said. Now, go get cleaned up. You look like a mess, he said. And with that, Percy sadly puffed away. And nothing more was said about ghosts and things that go bump in the night for the rest of the day. The next day, Thomas puffed into the quarry, but when he got there, he noticed something strange. No work was being done. From his perspective, it looked like everyone was just sitting around talking. What's going on? He said curiously. We're trying to decide which engine we should send into the old mine, said a workman, but we can't come to an agreement, unfortunately. Duck's too big of a tank engine to fit in there, so it's either between you or Percy. Oh, you do it, Thomas, said Percy. I'm too scared to do it. He was still a little shaken up from yesterday night. Thomas saw the look on his friend's face. Percy was more scared than ever. All right then, said Thomas bravely, but deep inside he was very, very nervous. All right then, said the workman. It's been decided. Get a car and some workmen now, he demanded. So Thomas fetched a truck, the workman climbed aboard, and he set off into the old mine.
Mainline engines always boast how big they are, superior by far. But little engines toil away from dawn till dusk, without a fuss or care. Just because we're small doesn't mean we don't stand tall and pull our weight like all the others do.
The quarry had become very, very silent. Then Percy spoke up. "Oh," he said nervously, "do you think he's all right? Do you think he'll make it out?" "He'll be fine," said Duck. "He's a brave little engine, and you know it too. He'll make it out sooner or later." But Percy wasn't sure. Meanwhile, deep in the mine, Thomas was venturing further and further down the mine with the workmen on board. The mine was spooky and quiet. Debris lay everywhere. Only the sound of Thomas puffing down the track was keeping him and the workmen company. Then they turned a corner and came to a set of old points. Although there was only one way they could really take. The first path was completely blocked off by a huge pile of rocks, and the other was just slim enough for Thomas and the workmen to fit through to continue their journey. So, Thomas and the workmen continued on down the slim path in the old mine. And it wasn't too long before they came to a dead end in the mine. The workmen got out to inspect. It was a completely dead end, no more track to travel on. The workmen started looking around when they found a huge beam, snug in some rock, and up against a big rock. A workman said, "This is here because unfortunately it looks like the rock in this area is really loose and wet, so they've obviously put this here for a reason before they left the mine all those years ago." And it wasn't long before the workmen confirmed that the mine wasn't safe to work in, and with that Thomas and the workmen headed back out the mine. Meanwhile, outside the mine, Percy wouldn't stop worrying about his friend Thomas, and Duck was beginning to get impatient. And just as he was about to snap, a huge cloud of steam came from the tunnel entrance, and Thomas the tank engine and the workmen came puffing out of the tunnel. "Hooray!" cried Percy. He was happy for his friend.